Hello, SpeedGaming 4. Welcome to the No Logic Summer 2022 tournament. This is a match between Krithel and Chexhuman. This is game 2. It was a very exciting game 1. Both runners finished it very quickly in around an hour, 10 minutes. So this should be a very exciting race as well. Sanctuary versus Link's House opener. Interesting divergence right from the start. So Krithel is doing a clip to check the man under the bridge, and he gets it very quickly. And meanwhile, Chex gets the map to Hera, which is good. Maps are very important, as in any key sanity mode, because we don't know what our pendants and crystals are. For those who are not familiar with No Logic, this is a mode where the items are placed without any regards to like beatability. Any item can be in any location, and we are allowed to use major glitches to beat the game. And Krithel is swim clipping through the land, and he gets it very quickly. Just a little shortcut to get to Ice Rock Cave. Just a single arrow, though, for him, unfortunately. Bush crabs with red rupees is probably the best one you could get in this mode. Many of the glitches we do involve potions, and potions are very expensive, so they'll be happy to see that. And I didn't see what happened to Krithel, if his water walk setup like didn't work or if he forgot to do it, but he decided to save and quit and not go and check the waterfall as you would typically see from that style of opener. And bombs on the tree pole as well is another like very good like free resource available to them. Bombo, since the Hostralis hut, could be important if the fire rods are buried and Ice Palace becomes a thing that they want to do, but we'll see. Also, the Meyer medallion is a very obnoxious thing to bypass if Meyer is a crystal. And Check's got a bottle in Blind's hut, which is very important in this mode, because as I mentioned before, the potion glitches are some of the most powerful, and they are one of the main means we use to bypass certain requirements and access areas that you wouldn't normally be able to access. The Turtle Rock Big Key is nice to have. It's one of the ones that can be more annoying to bypass if you have to. And the Meyer Key, which they both have, is only going to be useful if they have the Meyer medallion. Another thing about this format, for those that are not aware, is that this is a double rods preset. So there are 2 fire rods and 2 ice rods in the pool, and one of the reasons for that is to prevent a seed from being unbeatable due to a rod being on Trinex. Like, the seed would still technically be beatable, but the rules of this tournament state that you must not only collect the crystals, but you have to defeat the bosses that hold those crystals as well. It's interesting that Chex picked up the bug net, because there is a way with a fairy revive that you can set what's called the search index, which can be used to manipulate variables and cause glitches, and that might come up later. Also, the ice rod is in the compass chest of desert. That's a good find. So right now, Chex is trying to set up a quadrant glitch, and what this is going to do is it's going to desync him from his coordinates in the room and allow him to take a transition in a way that the game doesn't handle very well, and he's going to access the right side of desert without using the small key because he doesn't have it. So, can other people hear noises as well? Is Chex's microphone on, do you think? I'm just confused why I'm hearing things like controller noises and like someone breathing. So Krithel is passing on the bug net, which is not surprising. The method I brought up is, I don't know, I'm surprised it's not considered a meme. Using the fairy revive to set an index is... It only sets the index of 6, which has limited use, and it's also not very convenient. I'll be very surprised if the bug net is seen to have much use, but it'll be interesting to see. Oh, he got the heal from the piece of heart. That's really unfortunate, because you're trapped in there once you do that glitch. So if you don't have the mirror and you don't bomb yourself like to death warp out, you're just stuck. I don't think there was anything at K45 and Agina though, because Chex did those item checks right after that, so I don't think it's gonna hurt Krithel to skip those. So Krithel did a clip called the new DMA, or it might not be called that anymore because it's not that new, but that is the standard way that you see in restricted major glitches speedruns to climb the mountain, is you just do a screen wrap and clip into the entrance of the Old Man Rescue Cave. And he's rescuing the old man right now. So Krithel just did a nice little clip that screen wraps you directly next to the door for the Tower of Hera. It's a screen wrap that is very common in glitched modes because it's the fastest way to climb the mountain. And it looks like he didn't really find anything there, but it's good to check though. And Tower of Hera being the green pendant is interesting in this mode because even though Hera's a pendant, in no logic, it's very uncommon for Moldorm to survive a seed because a lot of crystals will be duped at Hera, usually, depending on the items that they get. And the flute is a nice convenience item, even though it would never be required, it can be helpful. And he's getting some nice hovers in Spec Rock, making it look easy. A nice graveyard ledge Death Mountain descent from Krithel. So everyone's favorite part of Randomizer is Bomb Mini Moldorm Cave. And by favorite, I'm being sarcastic, but he finishes it. Another bottle is really good this early on, and both of those small keys are somewhat useful. It's good to have one of each of those. The glove is nice too. And he's doing a Dora juke using a bomb, a technique called an item snap, which can force Link over the transition without triggering it. So he approached the south transition from the south side instead of the north like you normally would, and he was able to get the King's Tomb item, which I did not see what it was though. So I wonder how far Krithel is going to take this, because something happened to his water walk at the beginning of the seed, and he did not go to the waterfall checks like you normally would. Wow, Chex is showing good game knowledge by getting that 50-50 bomb from under the rock, and got lucky, and it was actually there. Two swords in Waterfall, that's kind of outrageous. I really hope that Krithel goes back for those. He's walking out, so that's a good sign. And he's going back in, so the only reason you would do that is to set up a water walk. So Chex did the Zora item in both seeds, which is a little bit surprising, but Zora can't have a good item, it's just a gamble. To answer a question, Chad, that is exactly what no logic means. The items are placed without any regards for accessibility, and we will be using major glitches to beat the game because of that. You can type exclamation point no logic, and it will give a tournament explanation with info and links. So Krithel is running in the clouds. This is a fun out of bounds. You just teleport up, and nothing is on the floating island today. So it looks like Chex is just falling behind with the East Mountain checks. These are very common and to check early in any glitched mode. And that blue cane is a nice safety. It's not really a glitch item to my knowledge, but it can be useful in some situations. So Ether is good. If they have 2 of the 3 medallions, it's less likely they would have an issue with Meyer being a crystal, but we don't know yet. And the mushroom is interesting because it is another item that you can use to manipulate the search index, although it's not exactly super straightforward. But it can be used for more than just doing fake powder if they get the Cane of Samaria. So it'll be interesting to see if they save scum the mushroom or not. I don't think that we're going to see that, but I'm not sure. So meanwhile, Chex is doing a screen wrap called the Kihiheat, which is a shortcut to one of the entrances to the Spectacle Rock Cave, and he's about to set up a clip with a bomb that will take him into Palace of Darkness. This is called Kiki Skip, and he gets it very quickly. So when you enter a dungeon like this, you don't have a dungeon ID because you did not enter through the front door, so he's in what's considered cave state, and by the way, that's a really nice sword. They're not going to be lacking for offense this seed. Because they definitely probably wanted that sword last seed. But anyways, since he's in cave state, and the game doesn't expect you to be in a dungeon in cave state. They're allowed to open key doors, and because he got, actually, I don't know if he actually has a cave state big key, but Krithel got the pod big key from somewhere. But there are 4 big keys that allow you to open big chests and big key locks while in cave state. Yeah, he does not. He's confirming by checking the big chest, which is fine. There's probably nothing in there. But the pod key, Thieves Town, Ganon's Tower, and the Hyrule Castle big key all are considered cave state big keys, so Krithel will be able to open the big chest. Another convenient part of the clip that they used to get here is that since it wraps the entire underworld map, it despawns the sprites. That's why there are no enemies. And there are also no crystal switches or bumpers or a few other things as well. So the big key of ice is just a fetch quest. Most of the big keys are not really super helpful, but they can be nice to have. That one is literally just a fetch quest because it doesn't even really help you complete the dungeon. Yeah, that is a good point brought up in chat by our tracker. A nice bow as well. But yeah, the falling floor is controlled by an invisible sprite, what's called an overlord sprite. So the bridge will never fall in this cave state pod. And Krithel is not giving up. He's doing a second shot on this hover. This is an extremely difficult hover, as if regular hovering wasn't hard enough. Oh, misses the pixels and hovers back to safety. Meanwhile, Chex is setting up a bomb juke. This is going to take him to Hookshot Cave if he succeeds. And he got it. He just has to do some funny transitions with a messed up camera, but he can get to Hookshot Cave now. And it's worth mentioning that that bomb juke is far more difficult than the one you saw them both do to get from Mini Moldorm Cave to King's Tomb, because it's in what we call an auto door or a suction door. So that makes one of the steps of doing the juke a frame perfect input. So you can see Chex is in Hookshot Cave and his camera is very messed up, but you can fix it, and how long it stays fixed is, I'm not sure. If you fall, it usually goes back to broken, but you can also exit and come back in if you want to. And Krithel is doing the same bomb juke right now. Wow, Chex with the sword out hover, very nice. Chex is not giving up on the last chest in Hookshot Cave. And he makes it across, so that's good for him. I don't think he really found anything in there, though. And regarding the sword out while hovering, I don't know the specifics of it because I don't know about hovering because I just don't do it, but there is a reason why you would want to do the sword out versus not, but I don't know what that reason is. Okay, thank you, Yoho and chat. North and west, you move at 2 pixels per second with sword out, or per frame, not second. Okay, that makes sense. And to address another question, no logic does mean that the items are placed completely at random. Nothing is checked before an item is placed. The items are literally just placed anywhere. And Chex is setting up a YBA, or Yuzuhara's Bottle Adventure, which is a potion glitch in a door. And he gets it. So he's now inside GT, and this is the Water Armos fight. Because the tile set is not loaded, it's just water instead of ice, and the physics of the fight are different, as you can see right now. Okay, I don't know what any of those items were, but and he's quick swapping. I didn't see anything new in his quick swap. Krithel's doing the same YBA, and Chex again remembering he doesn't have a cave state big key, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's probably not going to matter. So he's setting up another YBA, but I don't think he checked the item in the room first, unless I missed it, which is a little bit odd. But this YBA will take him to Rando Room. He has to be careful though, because the floor is invisible here. I'm assuming he has the path memorized, but if you fall, it doesn't just take you back to the door you went through. You are stuck in what is referred to as an EG room, or just like an unused room. If you look at the underworld map, there are several just square box rooms that have nothing in them. Oh, the lamp is in the big chest. That is extremely unfortunate for Chex. So the lamp is an extremely powerful item and no logic, and the reason for that is it manipulates a specific variable called the search index. And by manipulating that value, we can do what is called misslotting. And right now, the main use of that is Krithel can set up something called Overworld Conveyor if he wants to by misslotting a bomb. But there are other uses for misslotting, which we might see later depending on what items they find. That is extremely unfortunate though for Chex, because I do not see a world in which he comes back for that chest ever. Flippers in Hope Room that Krithel didn't get, I don't think. That's interesting. That could be important if Swamp is a crystal. So Chex is setting up another bomb juke, and Krithel is also setting up a bomb juke. The one Chex is doing is going to allow him to check the chests in the Dark Magician Stalfos room without using the hammer or anything like that. And Krithel's going to the pyramid right now, as you can see. Okay, so both have successfully done their bomb juke, but Chex now has to navigate blind the pit room, like the hookshot room. And he's hovering across right now. Very nice. So now he just has to bonk, because he did the hover. If you bonk around to the other side, you have to do a bomb jump after that. So he's getting 4 chests that we can't see right now. Big Key of Hera was one of them. 1 or 2 of them might have been rupees. And he just does a menu, confirming. Okay, he has 3 bottles. They both do. So he could have left out of that room using bombos, but with the camera messed up, it's very difficult to get around. So maybe he just didn't feel like going for like the 1 or 2 checks he missed or whatever. So meanwhile, Krithel is setting up another YBA. This is going to take him to Thieves Town, and he missed it, unfortunately. So Chex is taking his big key that he just got to Hera and is probably going to complete that. The map of Mire is hugely important. Mire is one of the most annoying dungeons to do if you don't have the medallion. And meanwhile, Krithel is checking Castle Tower. To answer a question in chat, Chex does now have one of the Cave State big keys, but the chances of him returning for the big chest in Ganon's Tower, pretty much 0, unfortunately. Chex is setting up a bomb clip to get to the other side without hovering or walking all the way around. Very nice. And meanwhile, Krithel is into Hyrule Castle. These are good checks to do, even though they're a little bit slow. I think this is probably more of a defensive play. And Chex could have done this to get the Hyrule Castle key for the Cave State key, but I'm guessing he just forgot or thought he would find one along the way, as usually happens. So he left behind the pod big chest as well, which was nothing. So Ganon's Tower is another Cave State key, which is interesting that that's also in Hyrule Castle. Looks like we're getting an Eastern into Mire play from Chex. Or, I mean, he's checking the green pendant right now, but I'm guessing because he's over here, he's going to do that, though. And Krithel is also thinking the same thing, but approaching with the flute because he does not have the green pendant. So Chex is running there the old-fashioned way, and Krithel is setting up a screen wrap so he can get directly to the door of Eastern Palace. But the reason why I say this is Eastern into Mire is because there are a few ways, but most notably with a potion, because that's their option right now. You can use a potion to get from Eastern to Mire fairly easily. I could be wrong about that, though. We'll see where they go when they do the checks that they want to do in Eastern. Red Boomerang is interesting because they can be used for some misslotting glitches as well, but by itself, it is not really that powerful. So Chex is setting up a quadrant glitch right now. He's gonna like tink his sword and release a spin on like a specific frame and a specific pixel, and this is very similar to the quadrant glitch we saw in Desert earlier, but it does a different setup though. Meanwhile, Krithel is just going to the boss the regular old-fashioned way, but Chex rather, is just doing that quadrant glitch as a shortcut to get to this big key chest, which is very slow to get to if you don't do the bomb juke or this quadrant glitch. I should say Dorju, because you don't have to use a bomb, but it looks like he's able to fix the camera from there, which is interesting, so he can just do whatever he wants after that. Right, Fire Rod on Armos Knights is interesting, so that's the first Fire Rod we've seen this seed. And the fact that Eastern is a crystal, even though we already knew that, is good for them. So Chex is going to the boss as well. I wonder if either of them is going to go to Mire. I assume so, since Krithel's going back in. It's worth mentioning, because I see it being discussed in chat, that since Krithel is playing on Super NT, his console is not able to handle glitches that cause VRAM corruption, and so with the 3 bottles, Chex can kill Argus. Even if he didn't have the flippers, he could still get there and do it, but the last step of glitching to get there would cause VRAM corruption. And so Krithel is unable to do that, and he also didn't get the flippers in Hope Room like Chex did. We do not know if Swamp is a crystal, at least I don't think we do yet. So, and the fact that they have the Mire medallion is interesting, but we don't know if it's a pendant or crystal, but Chex will know when he gets there though. Although it's also worth mentioning that Chex might not exit and try to re-enter the way Krithel did, because there is a chance that you don't have the medallion, and so some people will choose to do Mire in Eastern State, which is fine because they have the Eastern Big Key, although they don't have Samaria, so they would still have to use potions to get to the boss. But he could not exit, and then he wouldn't get the information if he doesn't exit and re-enter. And Chex did not exit and re-enter, so the game still thinks that he's in Eastern Palace right now, even though he's clearly not, though. So it looks like they haven't really found anything here, but if they're both doing the item checks, then they're both wasting the same time. So assuming that Krithel has 2 potions still, he is able to reach the boss though and clear this, and Krithel well, nobody knows right now if it's a crystal or pendant or not, but Chex has access to the information, though. And Chex is going for the boss right now. He's going to do 2 YBAs to get there, and meanwhile Krithel is setting up a clip. This is going to take him into Hera. So Chex gets the first YBA. You have to back out of the door a couple frames before you transition to not despawn sprites. And he remembered that you have to bring a key, which is important. And now he's going to do a north spin YBA in this door. So Krithel is going to kill Moldorm, and he's going to get the prize of Mire, because he's in Mire State right now, because he exited and re-entered Mire through the front door. So this is an info check for him, because he already knows that Hera is the green pendant. So Mire is a crystal, which is interesting. And Chex successfully does his spin YBA to Vitreous. But Chex is going to be trapped in this room, though, because the game thinks he's in Eastern, and if a prize doesn't spawn, meaning a pendant or crystal, you will not be warped out like you normally would. Now, that map is a little bit funny for Krithel. So Krithel has used the Mire Big Key to unlock the door in Hera, which will come in handy most likely. It usually does. So we see crystals at Thieves and Skullwoods as well, which those are fairly simple dungeons to complete, so that's probably good news for Chex. And right now he's setting up a Citrus DMD, or the clip is called a Citrus, and DMD is Death Mountain Descent. So this is just going to allow him to get off of the mountain, which normally you wouldn't be able to do this without a glitch. Meanwhile, Krithel's setting up an overworld conveyor, and this is going to take him back to Meyer, but since he's entering from the overworld, but he's going to fall into a cave, and he's going to get there if he gets it. So it's going to be cave state if he gets there. Yeah, he's trying again. Oh no, he already got it, and I just didn't notice, but yeah, he just decided to check the tablet first. So with this trick, there are 2 frames that you have to release a sword spin on, and he's gonna fall in a hole which is the thieves' hideout in the Lost Woods. So he has to do that first. So meanwhile, Chex has made it into Skull Woods, and he's death warping so he can get a link state. Okay, so Krithel got the hard part of the glitch done, so right now he just has to wait till the right time to bonk. Okay, so he's good. That was a successful conveyor to Meyer, so he's in Meyer in cave state right now. And he's gonna do the same YBAs that we saw Chex just do. But he already has the Meyer Crystal because he defeated Moldorm in Meyer State, so this is just to fulfill the boss's goal, rules of the tournament. Okay, so Krithel now has completely finished Meyer. He has the crystal and has defeated the boss. And it's also worth mentioning that Chex is able to fully explore the overworld screen that he's on after taking that death warp, explore as Link, because the fake worlds patch, which is normally applied to no glitches seeds of Randomizer, is not applied for glitched seeds. This is actually a vanilla behavior of the game where you basically it puts you in the light world when you die, but since he's already on a dark world screen, it's considered the fake dark world. So if he screen transitions off of this screen with that has Skullwoods on it, it will take him to the light world again. So it looks like Krithel's going back to do these checks because he got like a heart piece heal when he was doing desert, so he was unable to death warp out. I'm curious where he's going to go after this though, if he's just going to leave or if he has other plans in this area, because the desert can be sort of a hub in No Logic. You have access to a few different places from there, such as, it's not going to be Meyer because he already went there, but he could go to Swamp or Thieves Town if he wants to, but I don't think he's going to go to Swamp though. So meanwhile, Chex gets his crystal from Skullwoods and defeats Mothula. Alright, so he's just doing desert. I should have thought of that. That is like the simplest thing you can do in desert is defeat the boss of desert, which makes sense. We don't know if this is a crystal or not. So I don't know where Chex is going from here, because I think he cleared out everything in Skullwoods, so he can't really go anywhere from here. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong again. So he's opening this door to this room that you never see because he's setting up a bomb juke. And this juke is going to take him into Swamp if he succeeds at it. So I believe this is a double juke. I think he has to do the juke again now. Meanwhile, Krithel is setting up a spin YBA. This is going to take him to Landmo without needing the big key. So it looks like, unfortunately, Chex has failed his double juke, but I forgot that was even a thing that you can do because I don't know how to do it, but that could have been a really interesting play because he has the flippers and he has Skullwoods keys and he would have been able to use them in Swamp. But yeah, it's interesting that he tried to do that, but those kinds of jukes are just very difficult because you can't really see what you're doing. It's not like really a standard juke, but I know Chex is capable of doing it, but it was unfortunate that he missed it. So Krithel is doing a YBA to Thieves Town right now. And Chex is going to do Ice Palace. So that play into Thieves Town from Desert is a fairly common one, and it saves time when you actually go to do Thieves Town itself, so you don't have to go to the attic, because since we normally enter Thieves Town from the bottom, he'll be able to grab the maiden right away, which normally you can't do that because the going into the attic despawns the maiden. It's also worth mentioning that Chex did a bomb clip in the front of Ice Palace to save a little time. It does skip the Pengator chest, but he can choose to go back for that later if he wants to, and he did a very nice Ice Palace bomb jump as well. So I'm guessing this is a Skullwoods play from Krithel. But he's setting up the same citrus clip that we saw Chex do already to descend the mountain. His second Fire Rod in Ice Palace is slightly amusing. So since Chex does not have the hammer, he's setting up a spin YBA to get to the boss. And he gets it very nice. First try. So Krithel skipped the front of Skullwoods, it looked like, but he's doing the middle right now. I'm wondering if he's going to go back for that, because I don't think there was anything there that was helpful. Chex is setting up a bomb clip to get into desert without using the book. We normally do this from the north by just like doing a teleport, but this is cool too, though. It makes more sense since it's faster to approach this way. So Chex is also gonna get the bad news about the pendant desert, but it's good for the race because they're both doing it. So the reason why Chex is going all the way over there before doing this is because he changes the last super tile transition from a fade out to a regular one, and then he can just set up the spin YBA and avoid VRAM corruption, and he gets it very quickly first try. A quick moth fight from Krithel as well, and a quick landmo fight from Chex. So 3-3 for crystals, it looks like. So Krithel, or no, not Krithel, sorry. Chex is doing a nice little teleport to go back for Checkerboard Cave, because he did not have the glove the first time he came over here. And we knew that it was nothing from Krithel's side. And it looks like Krithel is going to check the front of Skullwoods. I don't think there was anything here, but there are some items that definitely could speed up his late game, like Moon Pearl or Hookshot, Samaria. Chex is going back to pod. I think this is probably to kill the boss. Right now, Chex is setting up a glitch called Statue Drag to Helmasaur, and what this is going to do is it's going to store the statue pulling animation, and he's going to use that pulling animation, even without the statue present, to juke a door or bypass the transition. And once he does that, it will allow him to manipulate the camera and access the boss's room without the need of any items other than bombs. And Krithel misses the YBA again to Thieves Town. That's rough. Okay, he gets it that time, and Chex has unfortunately failed his statue drag, but he still had the statue drag animation stored, so he was able to just try again. Okay, he gets it this time. It still can fail from this point, but I would be surprised to see that. Because this part, usually you just know the motions if you've done it enough times. I don't expect him to have any issues from this point onward. Okay, nice, very nice. He was successful, and he's now fighting Helmsor. So meanwhile, Krithel is doing a glitch called LSD Blind, and the point of this is to keep the door open. Since he's fighting in cave state, he's going to be trapped in the room otherwise. A quick fight from Chex, very nice. And the last pendant is at Pod, which... I mean, that's information at the very least. It's information Krithel doesn't have. Yeah, I see it being discussed in chat. Krithel does have the red mail right now. I've seen him play enough to know that that is the color for his sprite, to have red mail. I missed what happened to Chex. I don't know if he, like, couldn't do what he was trying to do, or he changed his mind. I just saw him, like, save and quit out of the mountain, like, as a bunny. So, kind of curious where he's gonna go now. It looks like Thieves Town, though. So by exiting and re-entering the dungeon from the front door, Krithel is now in Thieves Town state, and so he's able to collect the crystal from the boss that he just killed. I wasn't sure what Chex was doing. It looks like he was setting up a bomb juke, but then he changed his mind to do the YBA, which is definitely a lot easier to do. And he gets it. So Krithel has 4 crystals now, and his crystal bosses, for those crystals, also are defeated. And Chex is following right behind. I don't think he has bombed the attic, which is why he's going around opening the doors, and he's going to do an extra lap, basically, to bomb the floor. So like how I mentioned earlier, when Chex was in Skullwoods and took the Death Warp, he was in the fake Dark World. Krithel also was in the fake Dark World because he entered Thieves Town like from the Underworld and then just exited to the Overworld. So that's why he was able to do all those checks in Village of Outcasts without the Moon Pearl. And that extra bottle that he found is nice. It's helpful. He didn't like exactly need it, but it definitely is nice to have. Chex is confirming that the invisible item in the Maiden's Cell was the red mail. And it looks like Krithel is going to do Helmasaur now as well and get his info. Yeah, to address the conversation in chat, yes, different color potions do different things. Like you can only use green on what's called a subtile transition, and you can use blue on super tiles, and you can use red on both. However, sometimes red will have different effects. Like for spin YBAs, it will corrupt the VRAM, and so the graphics will be, they'll look interesting, basically. And blue potions on the overworld will trigger a fake flute. And green and red will have other effects. You can rearrange the terrain to access different things, or you can duplicate items by doing overworld YBAs. Like one of the ways to do Mitzless Smith is with an overworld YBA. So, and Krithel is doing his statue drag to Helmester right now, and it's kind of slow without the mirror because you don't have to do the first step of going downstairs and getting hit by the anti-fairy if you have the mirror. Okay, so Krithel's statue drag and his Helmester fight were both successful, and he's gonna get his news about the pendant. So meanwhile, Chex has reloaded Thieves Town and opened the chests in the front, and he's getting his crystal right now. So Krithel is setting up another quadrant glitch by releasing a sword spin on a precise frame, touching the turtle while standing on the boundary of the quadrant in the room. And this will allow him to do what we saw earlier to get to Hookshot Cave, but without doing the bomb juke. So, but the reason he's doing this, I'm guessing he's doing this to get to the Dark Death Mountain, but in Link State, since he doesn't have the Moon Pearl. And once he does that, he can use... Well, actually, I'm not sure why he's doing this. We'll just wait and see. But it is possible for him to do another overworld conveyor that will take him to Laser Bridge, though. Because he had multiple ways of getting here. This is just one of them. And he already was in pod, so this does make sense. Maybe that's the reason. Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. So he's setting up the conveyor, and he needs to get a clipping state while facing upwards after he sets up the conveyor. And then he'll be able to enter Laser Bridge. Oh, he got the upwards conveyor, which is... I don't think that's what he wants, because you can't go to Laser Bridge with the upwards conveyor. So the way that this glitch works, to my understanding, is you're mis-slotting a bomb. You need a slot 9 bomb, and then the timing of the second bomb placement, timed with the dash dust from Boots tapping A, the timing of the second bomb controls the direction of the conveyor, and he got it pretty quickly on his second try. So he just needs to wait. Oh no, he doesn't even need to wait, that's right, because he's Link State. If you do this as a bunny, you have to wait a little bit for like the screen to wrap so you can Death Warp. But he's just in, and he can use 2 of his potions to get to Trinex without the use of Samaria or any outrageous hovering. Oh yeah, that is a good point. Being brought up in chat that you can upwards conveyor to laser bridge if you're on the bottom of the mountain. That is true. I didn't think of that. So Krithel setting up the double YBA to try next. This one is notoriously kind of obnoxious. And Krithel, unfortunately, is showing us one of the reasons why, is if you accidentally go through the door instead of drinking the potion without the mirror, he's just kind of stuck here. Without Samaria, he doesn't even have the option of opening the door either. Not that I've seen anyone do that, because it is very slow, but yeah, this is just a really punishing trick to have to do, but it is one of the ways that we can access Trinex without using Samaria or the big key. Because the big key that he has doesn't really help him right now. Okay, so he gets the first YBA, and then he successfully wraps the screen, and then he has navigated the invisible, standable terrain, and so now he has to do another YBA in this door, and if he goes through this door, which he didn't, I'm glad, he would have fallen into a hole, and he would have had to start over again. So he gets the second YBA, and then you fall in the hole, and it warps you to a different door, and now he's in Trinex's room. So, meanwhile, Chex has gone to the back of Swamp. Honestly, I was so focused on Krithel. I'm guessing he YBA'd from Desert to get here, but I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, the fact that no prize was falling and he's saving confirms my theory that he got there from Desert. And using the unlocked camera from doing the YBAs to get there allowed him to defeat the boss without using the hookshot, as you just saw. So Krithel has defeated Trinex and collected his next crystal. Let's see. So he has 5 crystals, and Chex has defeated Argus, but now is in the process of collecting the Swamp Crystal, which is no big deal because he has flippers. So what he's going to do is first he's flooding the dam, and by saving and quitting without doing an overworld screen transition, this keeps the water flooded. So when he gets to Swamp, the water will still be in the front room. And so he's going to go to Hera now and do a clip from Hera to get into Swamp and unlock the doors. And once he does that, he's going to exit out the front door of Swamp and then re-enter to change his dungeon ID to Swamp, because it will be Hera when he initially arrives. And after he does that, he's going to go to a specific door and do a North YBA, and then climb to the top of Hera, but in Swamp state, and that will cause the Swamp Crystal to fall. And meanwhile, Krithel has bought potions, and he's going to Ice Palace. And Chex is getting bad luck with the fire from the enemy. That's kind of amusing. And he's doing a dash citrus. This is one of several ways, or at least there's at least 3 different ways you can do that clip. The dash citrus is one of them, and he got it very quickly. So it's important that he remembered, or that he already had a key, rather. You have to remember to bring a key to do this. And so he's going to unlock Swamp from the inside and then just re-enter. Oh, Samaria is in Swamp, but that might be... Well, it's not too little too late. He can still use that to get to Trinex without doing any YBAs or other glitches. So that will save him some time. But normally you want to get Samaria, like, for the... I don't know, it's just really helpful. You can do a variety of glitches with it. We'll probably see him use Samaria to reach the Agatu fight later. And Krithel, I'm not sure if he's going to get that or not. He doesn't... That item is not particularly flippers locked, because he could do the same clip that we just saw Chex do, but I don't know if Krithel is gonna go into Swamp and get that or not, though. And I also do not see Krithel going back to GT to get flippers either, because he doesn't know they're there. So Chex is setting up his YBA and he gets it very quickly. So now he just has to climb up to the top and he's going to get the Swamp Crystal. And it's very aptly being pointed out in chat. Chex does need to get the Meyer Crystal, and TR is going to be fast for him as well once he gets there. But Chex does not know, well, and it doesn't matter because he has all three, but Chex did not know the medallion information, but he definitely can just get there and open it, and he's going to clip back to Hera to collect the crystal, would be my guess. Meanwhile, Krithel's setting up the same spin YBA we saw from Chex, and he gets it. Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now from Chex as well. He's going to go into Eastern to do a YBA to get to Meyer, and then he's going to exit out the front door of Meyer, and he's going to be in fake Dark Worlds, which will allow him to use his items like normally. So he's going to open the front with the medallion, and then he's going to re-enter, and he's going to go to the Torches room, like we saw Krithel do earlier, and he's going to clip from Meyer into Hera, so that he can collect the crystal from Hera, but in Meyer state. And Krithel has completed Ice Palace as well. So Krithel needs to do something about Swamp, and Swamp is notoriously obnoxious, even if you're not playing on Super NT. It's even worse for him. It's unfortunate for him that he missed the flippers, but so his options are somewhat limited in terms of what he can do. It looks like he's actually going back to GT, so this is really good news for him. Because the flippers are just in Hope Room. Yeah, he's doing, this is a Citrus Clip to GT. And so once he gets the flippers, he can just double YBA to Swamp from Desert. And then once he corrects the tile set, he can just simply go through the rest of Swamp like the normal way and swim to the Argus boss room. And as for collecting the crystal, he will probably do the same thing that we saw Chex do. Because the other ways of duping Swamp are either annoying or not accessible to them right now. Yeah, he's leaving immediately. He knows the flippers were exactly what he needed. Since Krithel is flooding the dam first, I think that means he's going to collect the crystal before he does the boss fight, which is actually going to make it faster. He doesn't know this yet, but when he does the front of Swamp, he's probably going to get Samaria, but he might not because the bombing the wall is a little bit of a slow check. But if he gets Samaria, he can do a trick called Death Hole Argus to get to the Argus fight even more quickly than doing the double YBA. Although admittedly with Red Mail it might not be that much faster, but it will take you directly to the fight if you succeed at it, which he's certainly capable of doing. Although I'm confused why Krithel is buying potions now, because since he did the flute, from my understanding is the dam is like no longer going to be flooded, or I mean. And hard times farming the pickle for money outside the potion shop. Well, that's a little bit rough. So meanwhile, Chex has done a fake flute to get Super Bunny in the Dark World, and pulling on the tree like you just saw changes him from Super Bunny state to Link state. And right now he's doing a Dark Lumberjack Death Mountain Ascent. So from here, he's gonna bomb clip up to the top, and then he's gonna set up a screen wrap to get to Laser Bridge. So it looks like Krithel changed his mind, or he realized that the dam might not be flooded, because it looks like he's going for the boss of Swamp, like first instead of the crystal. And Chex did a very fast mirrorless wrap to TR Laser Bridge. That was really quick. And the fact that he's still checking items is giving time back to Krithel. Although, actually, no, I see what he's doing. He's setting up a Death Warp, and the reason you want to do this is because since he's in real Dark World right now, dying puts him in the fake Dark World. So after he kills Trinex and gets warped to the front of the dungeon, he'll still have his Link state, whereas otherwise he would be a bunny. And so what he's going to do with that Link state is re-enter the dungeon and set up a Quadrant Glitch and Samaria Corruption together in combination, and that's going to take him to the Agatu fight after he kills Trinex. But meanwhile, Krithel is doing his double YBA. You have to back out of the door a certain amount after you do the first one, and he got both of them very quickly. So Krithel needs to go up and down stairs to reload the tile set. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to reach the boss because you can't go through the waterfall for whatever reason. The game won't let you. And right now he's just doing a bomb diver down because it's faster. A quick Trinex fight from Chex, as you would expect with the gold sword. The mirror in Swamp is kind of interesting. It's a little late to be helpful, but I mean, it might be helpful. We saw last game an unusual use of the mirror Super Bunny glitch that I had never seen before. In the door that Chex was just in just now, in the front of Turtle Rock. So Krithel into the Argus fight with the camera unlocked. He just needs to get the puffs off screen, and Chex setting up a Quadrant Glitch. So that in combination with the STC he's doing in the door right now, and he got it. Although he's going to Agatu right now, as you can see. We're getting a nice clipe from Chex, going out of bounds to attempt to despawn the bat. He didn't quite do it fast enough to save time, but I feel like it's still worth doing just because it looks cool. So Chex is into the Ganon fight. And Krithel is working on duping his Swamp Crystal. Not that this is going to be an issue, but it's worth mentioning that when you fight Ganon without the Moon Pearl, it can be a bit of a hassle to get back. It wouldn't be an issue for Chex because he knows some of the faster ways to get back there, but it still would be annoying if he, if he wasn't as well equipped and this was actually going to be a difficult Ganon fight. So Krithel does the same dash citrus that we saw Chex do, and Chex is on phase 4 of the Ganon fight. Just, 12 spins to win. Pretty routine thing. Alright, and Chex has defeated Ganon. Get your GGs in chat for Chex. That was a very nice fight. So Krithel is setting up the same YBA and he gets it quickly. I'm not sure if Krithel is going to finish this or not, but I'm assuming he just hasn't seen the done yet from his opponent. And yeah, it is very exciting that we're going to get a Game 3 from these two. Both of these two are just extremely incredible runners. I guess Krithel is going to finish this out because he gave the GGs to Chex in the race room. But he's doing an overworld conveyor right now. This is one of the ways to get to TR without the Moon Pearl. And the reason why he wants to go to TR is because, like you just saw from Chex, there are many ways to get to Agatu from TR. He's having a little trouble with this. This can be a little tricky. If I had to guess, I would say his timing of his last two inputs, the AY before the second bomb, they look a little bit slow, but I only just recently learned how to do this, so I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Yeah, the slot 9 bomb does usually have weird effects, and you can usually see, like, one of the arrows gets, like, duplicated lower on the screen as well when it succeeds. He's just gonna go this way. He can go up Super Bunny and then clip into the middle of TR if he wants to. Oh, he has the mirror right from Swamp. So he doesn't even need to like do any difficult clipping. He can just use the mirror to like jump down onto the bridge. Oh, I'm joined by Chex. I can't hear you, sorry.
Oh, I hadn't said anything yet, so hello and GG.
Yeah, GG, congratulations. Sorry, I didn't notice you were here sooner. I don't know how long you were here. I was watching Krithel's gameplay, but GG though.
Just got here. GG's. That was fun. I don't know. I had more fun in the first one, maybe, but this one was pretty silly.
Yeah, this race was very interesting, at least for me, because unfortunately for you, forgetting about the Cave State Big Key or whatever happened to you, the lamp was in the GT big chest, and you and Krithel were in GT at the same time. He was like right behind you, and you were unable to open that chest. So I was wondering if that was going to be a swinging factor on the race. And Krithel did do an overworld conveyor to Meyer, but I think that that alone wasn't enough to give him a large advantage over you. So it was just really interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did forget about Cave State Big Key. So, where did Krithel get his Cave State Big Key?
To tell you the truth, I missed him acquiring it, but the pod big key was somewhere in Krithel's early game, and I did not see exactly where he picked it up. I wonder if maybe our tracker, Other Tom, knows, I hope, because I just remember he had it, so sorry about that. But do you have any thoughts about this match or this round or the previous round that you just played with Krithel?
I thought my gameplay was good last run, and I kept it, low percent, and collected, I don't know what it was, 104 items or something. And this run was just going a little bit for low chance plays and just making it take pretty long. The play to Swamp Palace from Skull Woods was not a good idea. If I had done it though, I would have got Kane and Mirror pretty early. So, oh well, I guess. It wouldn't really have accomplished anything, because I think I would need more keys to open up Swamp. And I didn't need to unlock Swamp anyway.
This Samaria was definitely in the front, but the mirror I thought was in the waterfall, so I'm not sure how you would have accessed that. Probably you know something I don't, or...
So you're saying the mirror was in the waterfall?
I believe so. I remember Krithel getting it because he just recently did... Swamp was his last dungeon clear in this game.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that would have been a play for the front, and only the Kane was in the front. I understand. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't really have done too much. But it was fun to try.
I liked how last game you had made a very easy mistake to make, but forgot to do the death warp, but you super bunnied with the mirror back into the front of Turtle Rock. I had never seen anyone do that before, and I thought that was really interesting, because you turned like what would have been otherwise a disaster, or like, I don't know, I mean, you just fixed it. It helped, even though you were a little bit behind, it helped. And also GG's for Krithel, he's finishing right now. But last game, Krithel had got a sword in GT that you did not get, and then he walked right past the sword that you got in Thieves Town. So last game, both of you were kind of low on swords the whole time, and this seed, you got 2 swords in the waterfall, so that was kind of an interesting contrast.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, in the last seed, where were swords? Did I miss one?
Krithel's Master Sword was in GT in the last seed, and your Master Sword, if I recall correctly, was in the front of Thieves Town?
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, both of you had Master Sword, and Krithel had a very dangerous Ganon fight because he missed the torch glitch, unfortunately, and was lamping both sides to get his spins.
Oh my goodness! What a race.
And looks like Krithel should be joining us in a moment here. And we are joined by Krithel as well. GG, Krithel.
GG.
GG Krithel.
So, what you don't know that I thought was going to be a big advantage, but it ended up not making a huge difference, was that Chex was ahead of you into GT, but did not have a cave state big key, so he did not get the lamp in the GT big chests, and I thought that was going to be a huge swinging point for you, which it did help you, but Chex got the flippers in Hope Room on his first trip to GT, so Swamp was not really a large issue for him at all. So I think that was perhaps the biggest swinging point in this race. But it was a really good race to watch, and the previous one was as well. I don't know if you have any like thoughts or questions about that.
No, I mean, it's the first time I've ever lost because of Super NT, or at least, not had a chance because of Super NT, which is, it's surprising it's taken this long. But that was very brutal for what it is, having to clear all the dungeons. I'd have been in go mode, I think on Eastern Boss, about 40 minutes earlier. It wouldn't have been a fun go mode, granted, but, that's what you get.
It also might be worth mentioning that Samaria was in the front of Swamp. I don't remember what item that is in Vanilla, but it's the one where you bomb open the wall. It's the second check in Swamp. So Chex was able to just go to Trinex the normal way, so that did save him a little bit of time. Not like a huge amount, but because he didn't get it early on at all, so it wasn't super helpful, but it's interesting that it was there, I think.
Mm.
And Krithel, in this seed, did you go to GT?
So yeah, I did an early GT play where I red YBA'd through to Rando Room, leaving the front of GT separately, and I kind of knew at that point I'm going to full clear all the dungeons before I come back.
Oh, okay. So I
I
was able to do
full
that
cleared,
as well.
Yeah, everything, and then sorry, go ahead.
I also did the red YBA to Rando Room, but then continued the loop, and that took me back to the front of GT. So
I didn't know you could.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure, but it worked out.
Yeah, just assume the camera would be broken.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, Super Tile YBAs are pretty solid with the camera, pretty stable, but the enemies are desynced. And there was nothing on the porch. There was nothing on the torch, so it was a small key, which I was able to see during the transition. But since I didn't care, I just left it despawned.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice play. Had no idea you could do it. I still don't know if I do at that point. I mean, I was juggling up if I was in go mode, because my problem was I didn't know if Swamp was a pendant. If Swamp wasn't a pendant, I was in go mode with Eastern. So I wouldn't have been go mode in GT, because I did GT before Eastern, actually. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just discovered the pendants as I went along.
Yeah, really the only way I think I got most of the maps by the end anyway.
Yeah, Chex did all of the pendant bosses. I think the only one that you defeated Moldorm, but in Meyer State to get your crystal information. But Chex actually had all of the pendants, so that was kind of amusing for the audience. At least it was information.
I mean, we knew Maya was the green pendant, so we knew that very early.
Oh, for the first game, Meyer was green pendant.
Oh, you're talking the first game.
Or no. This game, Meyer was a crystal. This game, and Hera was the pendant.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So like, I was never gonna get the pendant from Hera.
Right. My mistake.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. It was 50 rupees at Sahas.
Yeah, that makes sense, because Chex did get the green pendant turn in on his way to do the Eastern and Meyer play as well. So,
I mean, it makes sense to kill Moldorm. If I hadn't have done it in that Maya loop, I certainly would have done it separately. But because I was short keys in Maya, I had to do a very roundabout way of actually finishing it.
oh, that makes sense, because I was curious what your plan was going to be, and you ended up doing the overworld conveyor to Cave State Meyer, and then that was when you defeated the boss, having already had the crystal. So that makes sense. Not that I was like questioning it before, but I didn't realize that you were short on keys at the time. You were in there the first time, but it makes sense. So, do you two have any other thoughts about these two games or the next game?
Looking forward to it. It was a fun one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done a double header in a tournament before, but I can get pretty in the groove playing No Logic. So it was a fun series of 2. So looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I think the second one, despite obviously losing, was probably one of my best executed No Logic seeds. Just most things went pretty well.
Yeah, everybody loved watching this. Like, everyone was really hyped for this matchup, and I think everyone's happy that there's going to be a game 3, because we're just really excited to see what both of you are capable of. It was really good execution and routing all around from both of you. I personally was extremely impressed, and I'm sure everyone else enjoyed watching it as well.
And thanks for commentary. Who was on commentary for the first race?
It was Haiku type.
All right, well, thank you both.
Yeah, I'm glad to help. If I see that it's the day of a race and I see no one else has signed up, I assume that there's probably a reason for that. So, I mean, I'm glad to just, be of service to the tournament, fill in the gaps. So, do you two have any other thoughts, or should we wrap this up?
Nothing from me.
Okay, well, thank you guys for racing. GG to you both. Thank you to SpeedGaming. Thank you, Other Tom, for tracking. And thank you, Matt Ewok for tracking the first game. And thank you, the Restreamer, both times. I'm not sure who that was, but thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Let me check the schedule. I don't know if we have any other matches scheduled right now. Wait, sorry, did anyone hear what I was just saying? I don't know if my push to talk worked while I was reading the schedule.
I did not hear, sorry.
Oh, no problem. That's my fault. So, on Thursday and Friday, at 6 p.m. Eastern is Tam versus Doomtap, and tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern is Yoho versus Akka. So, with that, I guess we will call it a night. Thank you, everybody, once again, and have a good night.